Hello, 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 football fans. As you know, I'm your host, Mateo, alongside with my co host, Joe, and thank you for joining us on another episode of the WCC Grid Talk. We are here live right after this Buffalo Miami game, where Buffalo ended up defeating Miami and reclaiming the title for the AFC East. We got a lot of football to talk about, but now Week 18 is finally finished, and we are here to provide you with all information, everything and anything football related going into this postseason. So I'm here alongside with my co-host Joe, and I know he wasn't with us last week, but Joe, how you feeling right now, and what do you think about the way that this playoff picture is looking?
Yeah, Mateo, I'm doing pretty good. This week 18 was a very exciting week of football that had some very interesting outcomes that had a lot of playoff teams move in positions and stuff like that. I know we went over this a couple weeks ago on who we predicted to make it into the playoffs and to sneak into those wildcard teams. I'm gonna pat myself on the back a little bit and say that I kind of mentioned that the Buffalo Bills could end up winning the AFC East still, and so be it, they did. And I also said that the Packers and the Rams were going to both sneak into the playoffs and get those 6th, 7th seeds. So going to pat myself on the back a little bit there. But other than that, definitely an exciting week of football. There's a lot of interesting matchups going in the first round of the playoffs. So excited to get into it with you.
Yeah, and you know where we're going to start off with this, Joe, because we have to start off with our Green Bay Packers having a victory over the Chicago Bears. 10 straight wins against Chicago. Aaron Rodgers passes the belt on over to Jordan Love, and we still own them. We still own the Chicago Bears.
The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. Really, 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 really suck. Yes, the Bears still suck.
So excited to be able to say that and be able to say that our Green Bay Packers, with the youngest team in the league, secure a playoff spot and are going into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me at the very beginning of this season if I thought the Packers were going to make it to the playoffs, I would laugh in your face and tell you that you're crazy. But Jordan Love and this young team showed me something. They battled through this entire season, snuck in the 7th spot, really fought hard down the second half of the season. Kudos to this Packers team. I'm excited that they got in. They have a tough matchup against Dallas, but you know what? They did what they had to do. They went into Chicago and got the W, and that's that. Just getting into the playoffs. Doesn't matter who we're playing, but just getting into the playoffs is a victory in itself for this young team. Hopefully they can carry that momentum. Hopefully this gives them confidence going into the playoffs, and maybe they can surprise Dallas and provide a huge upset for these NFL playoffs.
Yeah, that's all we can hope for. But yeah, they really have just played some great football. Jordan Love has just looked spectacular through the bottom half of this season, and anything is possible. Anything is possible, but I agree with you. They do have a tough matchup coming up against the Dallas Cowboys, who have looked really good and put a whooping on the Washington Commanders today. But with that being said, Packers have secured themselves a playoff spot. But I want to go into just a couple highlighted players within this game. Dontavian Wicks, okay, with 2 touchdowns in this game. This is his first game back from injury, and he played phenomenal. And there was no Christian Watson once again. It looked like he was possibly going to be able to play earlier on in this week. He actually had 2 full participation practices on Wednesday and Thursday, and then they didn't participate him on Friday. It almost seemed like they just wanted to rest him, but then going into today, they thought it was the safe bet to not have him out there. But Dontavian Wicks really stepped up. Bo Melton, another player that ended up standing out. And I'm going to get a trend started right now, okay? We always say go Pack go. I'm going to say Bo Pack Bo, okay? Because he is killing it right now, okay? I mean, at the beginning of the season, a lot of people would have said, Bo who? Now you know what? People need to start understanding who Bo is. And then Jaden Reed. I think Jaden Reed has really secured his spot due to the fact of the injuries with Christian Watson as our number one wide receiver. I mean, he's just played awesome throughout this entire season, and I'm just so excited to just see how this offense has ended up playing. Moving on to the defense, there's still some questions to be able to say about the defense, but I mean, hey, in this game, they held the Chicago Bears to only 9 points, okay? 3 field goals and didn't allow a touchdown. So I think a lot is to be said about that, but we'll see what this defense can actually do against a tough Dallas offense. I mean, Dak Prescott's playing some of his best football, totally up for consideration for the MVP of the year. And then he's got some serious weapons with Brandon Cooks and none other than CeeDee Lamb on the other side of this.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up right after you got done talking about this. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are probably the strongest duo right now in football as far as quarterback and wide receiver go. Ever since that Week 5 matchup where CeeDee Lamb kind of went off, they have been unstoppable. He looks like an all-pro receiver right now. He's playing absolutely incredible ball. One thing I do want to say about this Packers-Bears game, though, is although we pulled out the victory, although we beat the Bears, who have been playing somewhat decent football, they haven't been playing crummy football like they were at the very beginning of the season. But I was kind of quenching my fist as tight as I possibly can because the Packers kind of did whatever they could in this game to give it away at times, and had some pretty bad mistakes that shouldn't have happened. But being able to overcome those mistakes and still pull out the victory, it says something about a team. We need to clean that up though going into this playoff match against Dallas, because if that happens, we'll definitely lose this game. Someone that I do want to highlight though from this game is Aaron Jones. Way to step up, dude. 22 carries, 111 yards. He had one heck of a game, and without him, we don't win this ball game. So kudos to Aaron Jones on this game.
Yeah, Jonesy, Showtime, showing up big time. And enough can be said about that. I mean, he really stepped up, okay? No A.J. Dillon in this game as he was dealing with the thumb injury, but Jonesy, yeah, man. I mean, it really shows when he's not out there. It does. You know, even though A.J. Dillon really kind of started to step up towards the second half of this season, it's almost as if there's just no comparison between who our number one and our number two is. When you have Aaron Jones out there on the field, things are going to happen. He's going to end up getting through those holes, and if a hole isn't tight enough, if a hole isn't wide enough, he's gonna get through it one way or another. And you make a really great point. Kudos to you, Jonesy, and we hope you can actually do something against this Dallas offense.
Yeah, Dallas defense. But yeah, Jonesy, you know, he had some injuries in this season. There's no doubt about it. He was battling through injuries this entire season. We could tell. If he wasn't hurt and battling his injuries, I'm curious what his consistency would have been like. Because if he was consistently playing like he did today, I'm curious what the Packers' record would have been this season. I mean, I'm stoked that they're in the playoffs. If this is the Jones that we're gonna get in the playoffs, heck yes. And I think that we actually have somewhat of a chance against Dallas, you know. And if Jordan Love continues to play like he's 27 for 32, Jordan Love had through today. What a game for him, man! Like, this was a game that it was in the Packers. They controlled their own destiny basically, and when pushed up against the wall and pressure to you got to get this win, they showed out, and I couldn't be happier for them right now.
Yeah, you know, Jordan Love has done what no other quarterback, and I'm saying no other quarterback for the Green Bay Packers has started off his season with, okay? I'm talking Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. I know the comparison has been going on between the three of them, but Jordan Love finishes the season with 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He surpassed Rodgers and Favre on the yardage and touchdowns alone. Now, he did throw 11 interceptions, where I believe Rodgers only had 8, but he was a risk taker, and he was really throwing a lot of deep balls. And so I think that speaks volumes into what kind of quarterback the Green Bay Packers have, and we can expect to see him for the foreseeable future, especially bringing us to the postseason now.
Yeah, but everyone on this channel knows, all of our followers know how much of a Jordan Love, I wouldn't even say hater, a skeptic. I would say I was a skeptic of him. He's proven me wrong, and I'm glad that he has, because at the very beginning of the season, I was probably one of the most skeptic Packer fans of Jordan Love, and the fact that he's had such a good season, and you could see his confidence building as the season went on. He has proven me wrong, and I'm glad that he's proven me wrong. I could definitely say that he is our quarterback of the future, especially what he's done with such a young team as well. Guys like Jaden Reed, who's a rookie as well, stepping up and them having such good camaraderie. Guys like Romeo Dobbs. He didn't even get a reception today, but throughout the season, he's had a phenomenal year. Tucker Kraft has been showing up lately. I can't wait for Musgrave to get back out there on the field to have some games. I don't even know if he's going to be able to come back this season, but
yeah, well, he was out there for a couple plays today.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, I do see. He had one reception for 11 yards. I can't wait for him to get back into the swing of things and like at full speed, because he's going to be an unbelievable weapon for us as well. So a lot of good things going on in Green Bay right now. Again, tough matchup against Dallas, but we might be able to surprise some people.
Yeah, and Joe, I've got to just throw this out there, okay? So for any of our listeners that were out there that know, we started this podcast off as a regular podcast via Spotify. And in one of our early on episodes, we had a projection on how this season was actually going to end up turning out. Now, my projection for this season was that our Packers were going to probably go somewhere between 10-7, possibly 11-6, okay? And I wasn't too far off there, okay? Because we do finish the season with 9-8, okay? So I'm going to call that kind of a win, okay? Joe, what did you have our Packers at again?
I believe it was 4-13.
Yeah, there were you're not alone in that though, Joe. Okay, there were a lot of Packer fans out there that weren't sure how this season was going to end up turning out, and they thought we were only going to win 4 or 5 games in this season. But you're right, they did prove a lot of people wrong, and we can be nothing but happy in regards to that. All right, but with that being said, now let's go ahead. Let's look at the rest of this playoff picture, okay? So, besides Dallas playing against our Green Bay Packers at home, as far as in Dallas, Detroit ends up securing this number 3 seed, and they will be facing off against the Los Angeles Rams. Okay, now this is going to be a tough matchup. I think this is going to be a really good game, okay, because the Rams have been playing awesome without Cooper Kupp. And why without Cooper Kupp? Because they got a guy by the name of Puka Nacua who ended up record-breaking receiving yardage for a rookie in his first season after this last game. Okay, Puka is definitely top-notch, probably at the conversation. Excuse me, I'm not even going to say probably. He is at the top of the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Okay, he's playing excellent. Okay, and Stafford getting him the ball is obviously helping, and they've really got a repertoire with each other without Cooper Kupp. And I mean, you know, looking at the Rams season early on, it looked like they were originally going to be kind of like where we were at in a rebuilding type of year, but they've really ended up pulling off what is pretty awesome for them to end up grabbing that 6th seed. Now, they almost didn't end up winning that game today against the 49ers. And the 49ers had a lot of second and third strings out there. But they did what needed to be done, and they secured that 6th seed. And now they're going to be going up against a Lions team who is going to be going into this game without their top tight end, Laporta. Most likely, he ended up suffering an injury in the second quarter, a hyperextension of the knee, and it looked pretty bad. So he's most likely going to be missing some time, and he's not going to be readily available for this game. So they're going to be relying a lot on the wide receivers. St. Brown definitely is going to be one of the top guys that's out there. He is their number one wide receiver, but that's a big blow for Detroit. And so this is going to be a really exciting game. It's going to be a real tough battle between the Lions and the Rams.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but even though Cooper Kupp was out today, I'm 99% positive that he'll be out there against the Lions come the wild card matchup. I believe it was just kind of like they secured their playoff spot already, and Sean McVay was giving him the rest because he has been dealing with some injuries this season. But going the last few weeks, you go back to the matchup against Baltimore. Cooper Kupp had 115 yards. That was 4 weeks ago. You go to the next matchup they had against Washington. He had 111 yards. Like, this is a very dynamic duo that they have now with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And with Matt Stafford playing good ball and their running game actually doing something as well, this Rams team is not a walk in the park. They are a good team. And I'm going to go just throw it out there. I could totally see a world where the Rams upset the Lions in this game. I think the Lions have not been playing their best ball of the year lately. And with that being said, the Rams have been playing their best ball lately. And what wins in playoffs is a hot team. So I could totally see the Rams upsetting the Lions in this game.
Yeah, and what an upset it would actually be, okay? Because for all those Lions fans that are out there, you guys have really been hyping up your team with all you guys have more than enough credibility to be able to do so. I mean, you guys finished the season with the 12-5 record. But now you guys are going to be going into this game, and you're going to be missing one of your top targets that you guys have actually had. And what was the reasoning behind it? I mean, I know you guys had the possibility of moving up to the 2 seed, but you already had secured a playoff spot with home field advantage. And now this is going to be really interesting. And I couldn't agree with you more. I actually do see the Rams upsetting the Lions in this game.
It's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think this is going to be one of the best. There's another matchup we'll talk about later, but I think the Rams-Lions game is going to be one of the best matchups for the wild card week.
Yeah. Okay, now we move over to the other wild card game, okay? Because Philadelphia, okay, versus the Buccaneers.
Some bad ball.
And
They've been playing some bad
Philadelphia's
ball.
been playing some bad ball. They really have. They had a loss last week against the Cardinals, and now they lose this week to the Giants? I mean, okay, I know being a Packer fan, okay, we lost to the Giants too, but come on. Philly, you guys have been hyped up as potential Super Bowl contenders, and you guys are losing to teams like the Cardinals and the Giants. It just isn't really looking great. And going in 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about this, with Philly possibly going up against Tampa Bay, because we had kind of assumed that Tampa Bay was going to go ahead and they were going to end up taking that 4 seed. I had Philly winning this game. I honestly don't really know, actually, going forward, just due to these last 2 games that they've actually played. I mean, it's been pretty sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, when we did our predictions for the playoff matchups, I believe I actually had the Eagles winning the NFC North and being the 2 seed in the playoff picture. But them over the last 6 weeks, they're 1-5 the last 6 weeks. Like they lost to the 49ers, respectable. 49ers are a good team, but they got destroyed by them 42-19. They lost to the Cowboys, respectable. Cowboys are a great team, but got worked 33-13. Then they lost to the Seahawks. Then they beat the Giants, lost to the Cardinals, and then just got boat raced by the Giants. Like, not playing good ball. I think, though, I think playoffs are a different picture. I think that based off what the head coach was saying at the end of the game against the Giants, that I think we're going to see a different team in the playoffs for the Eagles. I think we're going to see a more well-rounded, more organized team. Jalen Hurts actually got hurt in this game as well. Did he come back in the game? I know he got hurt with a hand injury. If I'm not mistaken.
No, he didn't end up coming back, but he did get hurt. They indicated that he should be ready to go for this next playoff round, though.
Okay. So if he's back, I fully expect the Eagles to play some decent ball in the wild card week, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think the Eagles are gonna beat the Buccaneers. I don't think I understand that the Eagles have lost to some bad teams here recently, but I don't think the Buccaneers have what it takes to beat this Eagles team, especially an Eagles team that made a deep run last year as well in the playoffs, and they have the experience there to. Obviously, the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl last year. Like, they're a top end team, and they have a lot of guys on there that have playoff experience. Like, I just don't see the Buccaneers winning this one, and I fully expect the Eagles to win.
Okay, so I think we're gonna have different thoughts and opinions on this one, because
So you're calling. Are you? So let me get this straight. In the NFC, you're calling for 3 upsets.
Hey, it could happen.
I'm rooting for my Green Bay Packers, okay? I am rooting for my Green Bay Packers. But do I think they're going to win this game? No, I don't think our Green Bay Packers are going to win this game. I'm going to go ahead and just call that out, okay?
Yeah,
I will be rooting, and if we do pull off the upset, trust me, I'm going to go crazy, okay? I'm going to lose it, okay? I might be jumping on top of the roof, screaming and yelling, okay? Because I don't understand how this Dallas team could end up actually losing to this Green Bay team, okay? Considering just the way that they've been playing, okay? I'm going based off of stats and stats only, okay? Dallas has been performing really, really well. Dak Prescott is up for MVP consideration, okay? And then I'm not saying that our Green Bay Packers haven't been playing good football. They really have. But I don't necessarily feel comfortable with our defense going up against Dallas's offense. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly my exact thought process as well. I think our offense will do enough, or I think our offense will be able to move the ball at least a bit. I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome how badly the Cowboys are going to pick apart our defense.
Yes.
I think since week 6, I was looking at the stats. Since week 6, CeeDee Lamb has the most receptions in the NFL. I think he has like 105 receptions since week 6. Let's put this in comparison. Puka Nacua just broke the all-time rookie record for receptions for an entire season at 105. CeeDee Lamb has 105 receptions minus 5 weeks. Like, that's insane to me. Like, this Cowboys team is running on at full throttle right now. A couple weeks ago, I predicted them to go to the Super Bowl. That's still my prediction in the NFC. I do not, as much as I'm going to be rooting for this Packers team and hoping for an upset, I do not see Dallas losing this game. I do not.
No, it just seems that way. So no, but yeah, I mean, looking at it, 2 upsets out of the 3. I mean, because just due to the fact of what happened with the Lions, okay, losing Sam Laporta is a big loss. It's a big loss, okay, and you know you've got the duo in the backfield for the Lions with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who have been playing really well, okay, but that Rams defense, I don't know. I think they could possibly contain them enough to create the upset. So I do see the Rams winning this, and just because of Philly's record, I mean, just like you just ended up telling me, out of the last 6 games, they've only won 1. Okay? Playoffs are different, and we can go back and we can end up dating other teams that we know were high-caliber teams that end up going into the playoffs. And, you know, once you get to the playoffs, you start back off at 0-0. So anything can end up happening. But if Philly goes in there playing like they have towards the tail end of this season, yeah, I could see the Buccaneers coming out with an upset. Baker Mayfield's on a high right now.
Gotcha. So your NFC predictions then are Dallas, Rams, Tampa Bay for the wild card week.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Mine's Dallas, Rams, and Philly.
Dallas, Rams, and Philly. Okay. Well,
And we'll look back at this in our next episode.
all right. Yeah. Well, for all those listeners, here it is right here. Our current standings and the standings going into this wild card weekend. We have the San Francisco 49ers first round bye, Dallas with the number 2 going up against our and your Green Bay Packers. 3 Detroit Lions versus the Los Angeles Rams, and 4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the 5 Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, should be some interesting stuff in the NFC. Now let's move on over to the AFC. Okay, because I think yesterday was some awesome football that really indicated a lot of stuff that took place today. Okay, Houston versus Indianapolis yesterday. Houston comes up with the win and clinches a playoff berth. Okay, they clinched it. Okay, there it is. They were going to go in wild card no matter what. But what ends up happening? Everything was based off of that Jacksonville game today. Jacksonville or the Buffalo game, but Jacksonville most of all. And what did we end up actually projecting? That Jacksonville could potentially lose to the Tennessee Titans, and that's exactly what ended up taking place. And due to Jacksonville losing that game, they lost the number 4 seed, but because yesterday the Steelers ended up walking away with the win, they were able to clinch a wild card spot and are in the playoffs with the number 7 seed, and Jacksonville moves from the 4th seed to being eliminated, with Houston taking over in the AFC. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable turn of events, and all of it ended up taking place between yesterday and today. But really impressive stuff when it comes to Houston. Now, Houston's going to be going up against a Cleveland Browns team. Granted, they have the home field advantage, but Cleveland's playing good, man. Joe Flacco's looking unbelievable.
Not only is he looking unbelievable, that defense is a brick wall. Like, they are playing top tier defense right now. I was actually going to ask you, do you think the Texans are actually in a better spot now winning the division and having to go up against the Browns, or would have been in a better position with Jacksonville winning and them having to go against Buffalo?
That's a great question right there, okay? Buffalo played pretty decent tonight against Miami.
Oh, they played great. I mean, they played. Josh Allen had. Don't get me wrong. Josh Allen had some mistakes. He threw a couple interceptions. He had a fumble loss. But besides that, Buffalo played good against a very good Miami football team.
Yeah,
Against a very good team.
but
I think personally, before you get, because I'm going off. I have to get out of my head.
okay.
I think the Texans actually are a better matchup against the Bills than the Browns, because I think the Browns defense is much better than the Bills defense, and the Texans would actually have a better shot at dismantling that defense opposed to the Browns. I don't think the Texans are going to score against the Browns.
Wow.
I mean, CJ Stroud's playing great. Don't get me wrong. He's got some weapons out there, but I don't see them putting up very many points against the Browns.
Yeah.
This defense is playing top tier.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. With your question, yeah, I think their better matchup would have been against the Buffalo Bills compared to the defense in the Cleveland Browns. They really are something to reckon with. It's going to be
Absolutely.
a fight. It's going to be a full-blown battle for them to try and overtake that Cleveland Browns defense. So, yeah, I mean, looking at this, kudos to Houston for making it in with a rookie first-year quarterback and a first-year head coach. Okay, it's the first time it's been done in, I think someone ended up saying like over 30 years or something like that. So kudos to them for doing that. But yeah, now with their matchup up against the Cleveland Browns, I've got the Browns winning this one.
Yeah, I do too. I think again, I'm going to go back to my predictions a couple weeks ago. I predicted the Browns to go to the Super Bowl. You laughed in my face. Laughed in my face. I think a lot of people did, but I'm standing by that prediction. I think the Browns are a very overlooked team right now, and I think that they are going to make some noise in this playoffs. I do not see the Texans getting by, and I see the Browns winning this, not by a large margin, but definitely having the upper hand most of the game.
Right. Okay, so we both are in agreement there. Now, let's move on to the next game, which is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Miami Dolphins. Okay? I think this is going to be a pretty decent game. I think this is going to be a hard battle between both teams. They both kind of had their ups and downs throughout the season. And Miami, going into this game against Buffalo, they had some injuries. Okay? There was no Jalen Waddle. Okay? There was no Raheem Mostert. Okay? Those are two big names to have out there. Okay, as far as for any wide receivers that they had to throw to, it was Tyreek, Cedric Wilson Jr. Not a lot of names that you typically would end up actually hearing. And then they had a Kane in the backfield. So if they can get them healthy enough, I think Miami is going to be able to put up a big fight. But we know how Kansas City can be in the playoffs, okay? And this kind of leads back to our whole topic in regards to Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay, okay? You start this off now. You guys are both at 0-0, okay? One game eliminated. And Kansas City has a track record of playing very well in the playoffs. So I'd have to say that I give the upper hand to Kansas City for this one.
So when we were talking about the NFC, I told you that there was a matchup that we're going to talk about that I think is going to be the matchup of the week, and this is it. Miami against Kansas City are two powerhouse teams that have been playing top-notch football for 85-90% of the season. Of course, they've both had their ups and downs, but for the most part, they've been playing top-tier football. Of course, Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, guys that have been there, that have done that know what it takes to win Super Bowls. Miami, on the other hand, has some young guys that are eager to win. They have speed in Tyreek Hill. They have a quarterback that is constantly being underestimated in Tua, that continues to prove people wrong. They we'll see. They have Etienne that has been playing phenomenal ball. They have guys like hopefully Waddle comes back. He's been playing good ball this year. A big loss that they potentially are going to have going into this game is Andrew Van Ginkel got hurt, and I'm not too sure if he's going to be out for next week. He did not come back after getting hurt, and they were already limited at the outside linebacker position. So him getting hurt, that's going to be a big loss if he can't suit up next week. And I could definitely see Kansas City exposing that. But I do see this being the matchup of the week. I see this being a shootout with tons of points being scored. I just don't, man, it's hard for me to predict this game.
Well, let me give you another little tidbit. They're projecting that in Kansas City, it's going to be about 10 degrees.
I can't feel my fingers anymore. They're numb.
I think the
With
weather is
that
going to
being
also
said-
play a factor
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, that's I did not know that. So knowing that, then I definitely have to give the upper hand to Kansas City in this game.
Right.
They know how to play in cold weather. Tua's from Hawaii. It doesn't get very cold there. And not only that, but then he played his ball in Alabama. It doesn't get very cold there.
Right.
And then he played his pro ball in Miami. It doesn't get very cold there. With that being said, I didn't know that tidbit. Let's go. I'm going to go with Kansas City winning this game.
Okay. Yeah. So we're both in agreement on this as well. Kansas City takes this. Okay. So now with Buffalo taking the win over Miami, which definitely changed a lot of stuff around. I mean, because if Miami would have actually ended up winning that game, I believe the Steelers were going to end up going into Kansas City. But this is what we're working with, okay? So Buffalo is now going to be playing against the Steelers at home, okay? They claimed the title, and they are going to be playing this game in Buffalo. This is going to be a pretty decent game too. I'm going to just throw it out there, okay? Buffalo, you've been playing some awesome football tail end of the season, okay? You guys fought. It was a hard-fought battle, and you guys got the number 2 overall seed, okay? And you guys got home field advantage in this too, okay? But the Steelers, something's got to be said about the Steelers fighting and grinding and getting themselves into the playoffs, okay? They are at the number 7 seed, and this game is going to be in Buffalo, where, again, I can only imagine it's going to be another cold game, which totally favors Buffalo, and I think that they're going to be able to take the victory on this one as well.
Yeah, not only that, but we talked about earlier that hot teams going into the playoffs tend to do well. You look back a few years ago, I believe it was the Steelers. I don't remember what year it was, but they came in hot as the 6th seed and ended up running all the way to the Super Bowl. That reminds me of this Buffalo team. Over the last 7 weeks of the season, Buffalo is 6-1. They're playing great football. They beat some good teams. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Cowboys. They just beat the Dolphins. They're playing good football at the right time. The Buffalo weather projection on Sunday is supposed to be 27 degrees with winds blowing 25 miles an hour. It's going to be freezing cold there. Yeah, I got Buffalo winning this game.
Weather plays a factor, especially in this football. Okay, when you approach this definitely makes a difference.
Let's also give Steelers credit in Pittsburgh. It gets freezing cold there too. Like there's no joke. Like it gets cold in Pittsburgh as well. But Buffalo, New York is a different animal. Yeah. It is a different animal there. And I believe the day before Saturday, it's actually supposed to snow there. Friday as well. So if the weather gets pushed back a little bit, it's potentially a snow game. So it's going to be interesting. I see Buffalo taking this game though.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that goes into consideration for Josh Allen. Okay, Josh Allen's been playing some good football. Okay, along with some of his weapons that he has out there, Stephon Diggs. Dalton Kincaid, Knox had a touchdown tonight. So, you know, I mean, he's got the weapons out there, okay? And then you have James Cook in the backfield. He hasn't necessarily produced a lot of points, but when it matters in order to be able to keep the drive going, he's done pretty well when it comes to that. And so, yeah, a lot of credit towards Buffalo as well, okay? Congratulations for taking this number 2 spot. But yeah, I totally do have them taking the win in this one.
The guy that I actually see getting more carries going forward, in my eyes, based on how he played today, is actually Leonard Fournette. I don't think he's going to get more handoffs than James Cook, but I think he's going to get more than he's been getting recently. I think he only has suited up for like 2 games recently, and he played very well today. Not only did he play well in the one run game, but on those 4th and 1 shoves, he was pushing Josh Allen over the first down. He was having some good blocks. I really think Leonard Fournette's going to get more snaps out there going forward.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's our projection right there, okay? So we are in agreement completely when it comes to the AFC, okay? We see Buffalo, Kansas City, and then Cleveland getting the upset, I guess is what you would have to call it, because they're the number 5 seed over Houston. So looking at the AFC playoff picture now, okay, so we do have Baltimore with their first round bye, claiming the number 1 seed, Buffalo taking on the Steelers, Kansas City taking on the Dolphins, and then Houston taking on the Browns. We've got some interesting football up ahead, people. We've got some great and interesting football. But nonetheless, don't forget, we will always be rooting for the green and gold. Okay, and with that, that concludes this episode. So thank you all again so much for joining. We truly appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, please hit like and smash that subscribe button and be notified whenever new episodes are coming out. You can find us on all of our social media platforms, which you can find right down here below: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and newly added Discord. Go ahead and join. You can find us on all of these at WCC Grid Talk, and we are here to provide you with all information, anything and everything football related. But we always root for our Green Bay Packers. We may not like the cold, but certainly still rep the green and gold. Go Pack Go. Have a great week.